our parents' generation, like they would settle down with their high school sweetheart. They would start having children in 23, which paused the female from going to get an education. Like these days, like we are free as birds to do whatever the hell we want up until we choose not to.
And if a relationship is not allowing you to do that, it's okay to move on these days.
Exactly.
Because guess what?
It's not stigmatized.
I don't have to, just because you're my high school sweetheart, I don't have to marry you, and we no longer feel the pressure of having to stay with someone just because society is telling me I have to get married. Society is telling me that I have to be with the person I had a kid with. Society is telling me that I can't have more than one baby father. And society...
But
is there a consequence to that? That's all good.
We'll have less kids.
No, yeah, I understand. Like, okay, so it's always like in theory, it sounds like it's gonna be great, but when you're like maybe 62 and you need somebody to unzip your dress in the back and you breaking your arm trying to do it by yourself,
you gotta have
like, but do you have to settle for the person that you met in high school, or is it okay to?
The difference is, I don't think people should settle, but I do think people start to begin to manage their expectations. There's a difference between settling and managing your expectations.
I think people find partners.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And whatever partners mean, if it's your best friend that lives with you, if you live close to your family, like you don't always have to have a partner that's like your lover at the same time. You can also have a million lovers, but you don't have to have an actual husband to take care of you, or like a wife that's like doing your chores. Like, I think it's important to understand that partnership doesn't have to be the way that it was when it was like
like an arranged, like there was, it started off with like arranged.
It started off a relationship. Period. I think that's where everybody's getting it faulted.
There's no
rule to a relationship. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You guys have to make your own rules. And that's how it's gonna work. If I'm saying like, okay, Aaron, you're gonna be the one that's bringing in the money, then what are your rules for me? And then I have to be able to play that role.
Yeah.
And if I can't, then I have to shut up.
Right,
So this,
exactly.
So this is the problem with that. So and while I totally agree with you, you have to have men who are on board with that, and the women have to be on board with that. And right now, within the last, 50 years, there's been a huge change in the power dynamic between men and women. And we can see that women are pushing the line, pushing forward, but men, unfortunately, are kind of still stuck.
It's too much to deal with. That's why
they're still stuck, because that is how things have always been, and it's very hard to change things that have always been a certain way.
I think
no, not for you.
Not
for you.
No, I know.
For like the general.
But I'm saying for the general, I feel like it's honestly is like for men, and I agree with that. And I feel like the reason why men are stuck, I think, because we don't know how to change.
Exactly.
We don't like change sometimes, either as guys. And I feel like that's where I had to come in as a man myself and looking at me like, okay, so if I want to change this, what am I going to do to fix that? And if you don't do that ever, you're going to be in that stuck same position. And I feel like that's where we are.
And it's challenging the actual, like the whole foundation of marriage. And marriage, as much as like we're not like very deep into like the marriage part, marriage was a way for you to like control power, keep power, and have certain rules applied to that situation.
Everything.
That is not
of power and resources.
But if you tell yourself, but how does a man compromise when we come from a time where they used to say, my wife has to be a virgin? So now women being like, look.
That's exactly like men are having such a difficult time figuring out how to change. And I'm not saying it's a good it's not looking real good. But like, I understand that it's difficult to change. That's what I'm saying. It's very hard to change that, and I understand, but somebody got to wake up and be like, yo, I can't expect for my wife to go out and work every day, or my partner to go out and work every day, to come home to cook, to clean, to fuck around with these kids. Like, I can't, and I'm just going to sit at the house. I'm just going to go to work. That's all I'm going to do. No, get your ass up and help and do something. And that's the problem. At this point, you just cannot do it on your own. If you're in a partnership and everybody in the house has to work, that means everybody in the house needs to help with the kids. Everybody in the house needs to help with the dishes. Everybody in the house needs to help with the whatever. And again, I'm not saying this is a rule, but this is at minimum a discussion that needs to be had. Because you have some people who are not putting $1 on the mortgage. But then you also have some people who are willing to do the 50%, who are willing to do the 60-40. And that's fine, but your expectations have to be realistic and they have to be voiced. Like